Hello my friends, this is Amner Hunter from amnerhunter.com. Happy to spend some time with you on this video. This time around I wanna check out one free VST plugin alternative to this Waves limiter. I am talking about the L1 by Waves Audio, highly used limiter, very transparent. Now it has another look, a modern look, but it's the same limiter, right? The L1, a very simple to use limiter. In this video, I want to show you the features of this one and also of the free alternative. Of course, I'm going to show you some audio examples of each one of them to compare them. And I also want to show you 3 examples of how I use limiters in my mixes. 3 very useful applications that might help you out using these plugins. As usual, all of the applicable links are going to be down below in the description and first comment, and don't forget to check out the timestamps as well that I leave you down below. Before we dive deep into the content, I would like to invite you to my website, amnerhunter.com, where I have some freebies for you. You can download some free PDF guides and ebooks for music producers and guitar players, such as the guide on how to make more music in 30 to 60 minutes a day, also the 8-step mixing checklist using only free plugins. Additionally, I have some free tools such as a huge collection of guitar impulses, a drum sample pack for rock and metal sound, among other utilities. And finally, don't forget to check out my blog and this channel, which I'm updating weekly with tons of free content. So now let's get straight into the video. Let's start here with the features of this simple limiter by Waves Audio, the L1. Very famous limiter, very transparent. Also, this now has this look, 25th anniversary edition. Before, it had the other look that was more alike the free alternative that I'm checking out in this video. So let's start here. It has a threshold. This one, the more you decrease this control, it will automatically increase the volume and loudness of the track. Here we have the ceiling, which is the parameter that we need to adjust so that the volume doesn't exceed 0 decibels. Some platforms request -0.5, others -1 decibels of ceiling, means that the audio will not go through this amount that we set here. One very cool feature that I always use in some instruments is the link. This allows you to link both of these controls, and when you decrease this control here, both are gonna be decreasing. Therefore, you're gonna be having the compensation of the gain, so it will not increase the volume. You're gonna be limiting the signal, but you're gonna be having the same volume. Very cool. So very useful, for instance, in bass guitar to limit the bass without increasing the loudness. You just want to control the peaks, for instance, or in other instruments. I'm gonna be checking out that. Also, it has a release control from 0.01 milliseconds all the way up to 1000 milliseconds. For mastering, I recommend you using more than 50 milliseconds to avoid digital distortion, right? Also, it comes with an auto release. This plugin doesn't come with intersample peaking or the oversampling to avoid digital distortion, but one way to do it is use more than 50 here. At the right, you're gonna be starting to see the peaks or audio that's being reduced by the limiter. Now let's look at the free alternative, Loudmax by Thomas Mundt. This limiter has been out for years and it's also very transparent, very used. It's very much alike the classic look of the L1 by Waves. It also comes with a threshold control, right? The more you decrease this, the louder it becomes, and also the ceiling that it's right here in the form of out control. The audio will not pass through this ceiling. You can also engage this link control, and both of the controls can be decreased together to control dynamics without affecting the loudness, or to limit without increasing the volume or loudness. One cool thing about this plugin is that it comes with the ISP function, which means intersample peaking, so it will avoid digital distortion, especially on high end. It's one form of oversampling, very useful for mastering applications, something that the Waves L1 doesn't have. Now let's look at some audio examples and also some approaches that I use with these types of plugins. First of all, here on the drum bus, I am using both of these plugins, I am gonna control the peaks of these drums. All right, it's very useful just to tame, just to clip those peaks that are not gonna affect the sound. Of course, if you overuse limiters on drums, for instance, you might lose the impact, the hits. We just want to control the peaks. Let's see here at the meters, this drum kit. As you see here, some peaks of the drums are minus 4.1, even though most of the drums are much less normally. Some of those peaks and spikes might get out of control the mix. We can control that with a limiter. So I am gonna use the link function in both of the plugins, and I'm just going to decrease this a little bit to limit a little bit of those peaks, and you're gonna see here that we are not gonna get up to minus 4.1. Let's check it out first with the L1 and then with the Loudmax. Instead of the peaks at minus 4, we are now peaking at minus 7.8, and we are not losing any volume, we are not losing any impact from the drums. All right, so that's one way I like to use limiters. Let's use the other plugin. It's not very noticeable, but that's a good thing. Actually, we are controlling those peaks, those spikes, right? We are controlling the dynamics of this drum kit by limiting those peaks that we don't need. They are just taking up space in the mix. As you see here, I am using pretty much the same threshold and linking the controls. Another use of this limiter that I always recommend is on bass guitar, for instance. The bass guitar is very dynamic, so we can control very easily that with these limiters. In the same way that when using on drums, I am gonna link both of the channels and I am gonna decrease this till I control the dynamics. On bass guitar, we can be a little bit more aggressive with the limiting. There is no problem. All of the notes are gonna be heard. The bass guitar will be very prominent and very consistent throughout the mix, and it's very important because we control also the low end, which is very important. It can get out of control very quickly. Let's see here some of the dynamics of the bass guitar, some of the peaks. As you see here, some very quiet parts, also some peaks, and we need to put the bass more even in the mix. Let's start with the L1 limiter by Waves. As you see here, no spikes, everything is controlled and more consistent and more flat, but in bass guitar that's a good thing, and we can now increase the volume if we need with the out ceiling. Now let's use the Loudmax with the similar parameters, right? -17 here. I am gonna start to lowering these controls to control the bass guitar's dynamics. Also controlling the dynamics in the same way as this one. Very useful that you have this link option in both of these plugins, especially on the free one. Let's compare both of them. And this application can be useful in other sources as well. Vocals, you can control also some peaks in vocals. In electric guitars, heavy guitars, you can control the heavy shocks, the low palm mutings, right, with this same approach. And of course, let's go to the final use of limiters that I commonly see. It's in mastering, of course. The limiter as the final plugin in the mastering chain. In mastering, we do need to put a ceiling. We need to use -0.5 or -1, depending on what you're looking for. I am gonna put here -0.5 in both of the plugins. In that way, when we lower the threshold, the volume, it's gonna start to increase. It's because we need to get to commercial levels in loudness and volume. I'm gonna set here a release of more than 50 milliseconds. This doesn't come with the release, but I'm guessing it has an auto release. I am gonna also engage intersample peak. Let's start here with the L1. Please let me know down below in the comment section what do you think about this free alternative to the Waves L1. What do you think about the use of limiters in mixing as well? And if you want to share another application where you use limiters, please let us know down below. I will be more than glad to read you. Before we go, I would like to invite you one more time to my website, amnorhunt.com. You can get some additional freebies, some free PDF guides and ebooks for music producers, also some free tools, a huge collection of guitar impulses, a drum sample pack, among other utilities. And finally, don't forget to check out my blog and this channel, which I'm updating weekly with tons of free content. Thank you so much for watching this video. Thanks for your time. I appreciate it very much. I will see you very soon on the next one. All right, take care.